Hello, James here. Well, I'm gonna make this video go into a different tempo this time, and this time I'm gonna be talking something that most people don't want to talk about, but some people might be interested. And I heard a video earlier about a woman that she was explaining her version, and I'm gonna let you watch the video of a dimension of what happened to you when you leave this world. And I'm letting her give you a version, then I'm going to go to a page that talks about, and after I'll make my commentary and I'll show you a biblical version. But she acknowledges God, but there's something different about what she kind of threw me off. But there's certain things I agree, but there's certain things I kind of was confused, and I'm gonna tell you. But I'm gonna tell you after this video. If I can find it's at the bottom on my list here. She's from Dorothy Shelton, and it's a 9-minute, almost 10-minute video. Here's Dorothy Shelton talk about soul trap and about people who pass on. Do they really go to another dimension? And I'm gonna take you to some other videos clarifying the different dimensions about the Bible from the Bible perspective. But from this perspective,
what happens to your home also happens to you.
A lot of people leave comments under my video about Earth being a soul trap. Are we trapped here as souls? That's the question. There are two parts to this. The first is you can choose to believe one or the other, and both will be true for you. If you think your soul is trapped here on earth, you will create that reality for yourself here on earth and afterwards in the afterlife as well. You can create that because you're that powerful. You are that powerful that you can create a situation where you think you are trapped, literally. The second part is that you understand that you are a powerful spiritual being, and that only a small essence of who you really are, which is you are a soul, you are a speck of God, you're a grand being. Only a little part of that grand being gets incarnated here on earth. So a big part of you isn't actually on earth. A big part of you is still in the astral planes, in other realms, But a small part of you incarnates on earth. Let's not talk about parallel universes, because that's already going way beyond what the mind can even comprehend. But again, this is something that Lars Cannon and many others are finding out as well, that actually, apart from this reality, there are many other realities where your being, your essence is also. That is mind-boggling in itself. However, are we trapped here? So like I said, there are two situations which you can choose to believe. The first is you are trapped, in which case you create that reality for yourself in this life and in the afterlife. The second is that you realize that you are a grand, powerful spiritual being who has control over his or her life, and also who is very interactive in the afterlife, which means when you die, it doesn't mean you're just a passive observer. No, you are still actively deciding what happens to you in the afterlife. And this is something I'm going to post very shortly with one of Melon Thomas' accounts, where he talks about his near-death experience. And he really talks about that, how even when he died, he was fully in control of the things that he perceived and the things that happened to him. And it's quite fascinating. So we have a lot more power than we give ourselves credit for. So in short, no, our souls are not trapped when we come to earth. Actually, it's the opposite. we create these illusions, and we have created this veil. I say we as a collective consciousness, we created this whole illusion that we are helpless. We actually choose to forget who we are truly, which is a part of God, a very powerful part of God. We choose to come here for the reason of experiencing polarity, experiencing the opposite of what we are, because we are love, because God is love, God is pure love. And without love, nothing can exist, which is a beautiful thing, and it also reassures me that everything is okay. So love is really the most powerful feeling and expression there is. And because we come from love and we come from the light, we want to experience the polarity of that, because we never die, we always exist. So we want to experience different things, one of which is polarity, which is the opposite of what we are. So we choose to forget who we are so that we can rediscover who we are when we come to planet Earth. And that's why you have all of these different stories about who Jesus is, what God is, that there's a devil, there are demons. You have all of these different versions of what reality is. We have created all of these different stories because we are free to create whatever we want to create, and we are free to believe what we want to believe. But we are so powerful that whatever we do believe will affect our reality. So if in our reality we want there to be a devil and demons, and we want a higher power to tell us what to do, then that is the reality we will create for ourselves, even though you're not consciously aware of it. So it's very important to understand that you are the creator, you're the master of your reality. And this is something that we are not taught as children. And there's nothing wrong with that, because again, it's a choice that we have chosen before we even incarnated on earth. This is something we don't want to remember, because we want to be fully immersed in this illusion. This is what we want. We want that. First, we want to get lost as souls, get lost in all of the muddiness and forgetfulness of earth life, and then we want to rediscover ourselves. So the journey we're taking is a journey of rediscovering who we truly are, which is quite beautiful. But at the same time, if you think about it, with our limited mind, frustrating as well. Sometimes I think, oh wow, we really choose to do all that just for the experience of being different from what we are, and all of the pain and hurt that we go through. But that is looking at it from a limited mind point of view. Because if you look at it from the soul's perspective, it is totally worth it for the soul, because there's so much growth and learning and vibrancy that
Copyright
can be
1976
attained from this
for teaching
journey
purpose
that
only.
we go through as human beings. So there's nothing wrong with this journey, and it's a beautiful journey, because we all are part of a huge tapestry, and everybody's life and experience is a thread in that tapestry, and we're creating this beautiful picture which is part of the development or the evolution of God, him or herself. We are adding to the experience of the Godhead, which we are all a part of. This is the beautiful journey that we are on. So again, just to summarize, we are the creators of our reality, and there is no soul trap. There is only your own creation. Whatever you choose to believe is what you create for yourself. So empower yourself and realize you're not a victim. Nobody has forced you to come to planet Earth. You yourself have chosen to come here to experience what you're experiencing right now. And there is something you want to achieve in this life, whatever lesson you want to learn. So get quiet, listen to your soul, and listen to why you are here. Listen to the purpose of your soul's calling, and try to follow your soul's path that it wants to take. This is why you're here. You're not a victim. You are the master and the creator of this reality. We as a collective consciousness have created this reality. We can choose to go to any planet that we want. We have probably gone on many excursions in many other planets already. So it's part of this evolution of our soul in the grand scheme of the Godhead that we are all a part of. So we're not victims, we are masters of our reality. Some authors have actually said that souls who incarnate as human beings are one of the bravest and most adventurous part of God, because it's one of the hardest and challenging planets in the universe. This is, for example, something that Dolores Cannon has said. She said that if you incarnate here, you are a brave soul. This is another thing that Pamela Kriper has found out as well, who channels Yeshua. He also says that souls who incarnate as human beings are brave souls, because we choose to forget who we are. We choose to experience all of these hardships as well as joys, which we can also experience on earth, and adventures and all of that. We choose to experience all of these different polarities here on earth because we are brave and we are adding to the vibrancy of God, of which we are all a part of. So you're not a victim, you are a part of God, and you have created this reality. You've chosen this for a reason, because you're a brave soul. Just, be aware of that. So tap yourself on the back and say, wow, well done to you, well done for going through this journey, and everything will be well, everything is well, because you have created this, and you can uncreate whatever you have created that you don't like, because you're that powerful. It's all about taking back your power, reading books, meditating, and just being hopeful, rekindling the hope within yourself, and understanding that everything is well. See you later. I love you all.
Now, this is probably going to come to the new church. Let me start by saying some of what she's saying is true. We did come from God. But the Most High sent us here. Number two thing, He's in control of everything. The Most High God is in control. When you step across
charging slowly.
Across the plane, and we can't really master nothing. Once you leave this, you can't go. If you would leave this plane to go into the third heavens, you need an escort. You need the Most High, one of His angels, to escort you to heaven. You can't go from one plane to the other plane, because maybe in a dimension that the souls are down here can go from one dimension to the dimension, but to go to a different dimension from the earth to second heavens and to the third heaven, there's got to be some powerful being more than you to carry you up that way, and that would be the Most High God Himself and His angels. That part I do know about. Can we make decisions and things like that? Yeah, and read and concentrate. Another thing is people always said we are our own gods. We may be a part of God, but we're not actually God. Maybe our spiritual being can have God into us, but He is the one that controls the dimensions. He's the one that can control the body. And I bet you this is going to come to the church. Because it's easy somebody say, yeah, you believe in, but you see how it's subtle it comes in? And the reason why I'm teaching about this, because this is probably going to hit the church. They say that a God, but it's what your God and what your Jesus. God, you see the wording into that? No, it is actual. You can't make that up. There is a real God. There is a real Jesus. And there are a real, on the opposite side of Jesus and the Most High God and His angels, you have the devil and his demons. That's a fact. You can't bring that up. There are places in the earth that have experiencing heavy, crazy, supernatural activity. Even there's some people that have even encountered it, and so you can't worship. There's some people you can't think of something. It appears unless you summons it. Now you summon something out of some evil? Yes. You can you pray and ask them, and God can speak to you? Yes. But this no 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 no. So this is probably coming to the and it's so many. How many people? It's easy if you don't. This is a lesson for people to understand, and there are people who are teaching that. You can't. It's like some people that believe they can go to the moon. That really think that they believe that they can go to the moon. You can't go to the moon. Why? Because out in the from once you leave the gravity that surround the Earth, there's pockets and there's gases and things to get to from the Earth to the moon. And there's not a material on any ship that can withstand those temperatures. The only way you get to the moon is through the Most High God. Take you to the moon. And and have an angel take you to the moon. You cannot go to the moon in no spaceship. I don't care what they tell you. You cannot. And there's some people, it's sad enough they believe that. We don't have the technology. We didn't have the technology back in 1969. There's portals to get to the moon. Even though it looks close to the Earth, but they like to think people believe that like you can put something in, and it can be out in Mars and it take light years to send something way out to the constellation. You got pockets, you got black holes and everything out there between all the different constellations of what we call the planets. You just don't just zip out something and say, like Star Trek, okay, now it's time for it to come back. Come 12 years, it don't work that way. But NASA, to me, they have you believe that it can work that way. The only way is if you see something moving through space, it's something supernatural, like the UFOs. There's something that basically are falling beings that can move through that because they was able. These was a falling beings you see come up out in space. That's the only thing because they got the technology to move through it because they rule the second planes. So, people really believe that they can. No, they can only go so far outside the Earth and stay within the gravity of the Earth. You cannot go because if it would go past, Earth, they would die instantly. It would probably freeze to death. So I don't believe that. My friend had me think about that one time, and she was telling me how the way the atmosphere that she studied science and Pacific, and I sat down and I think about it. I said, wait a minute. If they did have the technology, they would have went back up to the moon. All these countries was, but they don't have the technology. No country has the technology to go through a supernatural portal dimension to get to the moon. It's just, or any of those constellations out there. You literally have to be a spirit, literally. Why a spirit? Because the spirit, which is the Heavenly Father, is made of a dimension that's outside of our physical dimension. The Heavenly Father and His spirits can now they can go to the moon. They can go out because they are spirits. They can infiltrate the atmospheres. They can infiltrate the dimensions of the universe because it was the Most High God that spoke to the universe. So He's the one that know the portals and dimensions where the black holes to get to and from. If you ever go to another planet, so to speak, you can't go to another planet. Or you can think and you could be at another planet. No, 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 no. You don't have you are a spiritual being, but you don't have the ultimate being. The Most High has all the knowledge, has all the power and all the dimensions to get to and from, in and around, in dimensions in this earth and above the earth and below the earth. We don't have them dimensions. I'm sorry. Even after life after death. That's the life, and this is mainstream spirits. And to prove that, it's in the Bible. Oh yeah, it's in the Bible. Who ministering spirits are, because a spirit is basically it's another being that can that is not made of flesh. But here it is, ministering spirits, and these, and it comes from the book of Joshua, Joel, and these are the angels. You have archangels, seraphim, cherubims, living creatures, dominions, virtues, powers, authorities, principalities, rulers, territorial spirits, as well as the enemy. Judgment, watchers, you have watchers, you have salvation, glory, guard, skull, lions, mandate. But watchers and probably principalities can, because the principalities are in the second heavens. Now they have the ability because they are spirits, and that's in the Bible. The watchers, and these are hierarchy guys, archangels, and even the angels that oppose to God. Satan has the ability to go up into the second heavens, into the earth. He has the ability. He might even have the ability to go to probably to the planets, to the constellation, because he's a higher being. But we're power, but we come from God as a being, but we only have so much that our limitability is in this earth, and he gives it to us. But they have, but the Father, Yah Elohim, which is he's called Creator, the great I Am, spoke to the universe. We don't. I don't know where people get this. Oh, we're the gods. No, we ain't. We ain't we ain't no God. We come from God, but we ain't gods. We ain't gods. And we go think. And I believe, even if you did, that if you want to get to the heavens, and then once you get in the heavens, if he would have to literally have an escort to go through, to come back into the earth through a dimension, if you was a spirit with the Father, and be with the cloud of witnesses with the angels. Now they can bring you through, but you can't just go through. They have to escort you through, because in the second heavens, all those territorial principalities, that they have to get you through to get back into the third heaven where the Father dwells. So I don't, some people, I've been wanting to talk about this, man. This is something really interesting. But that's something that's going to probably, people in this earth probably, that's the next thing they're going to start believing in, and some things like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no. That's the next thing they're going to be believing. But no, and man never did. I don't think man ever went. uh, but they were always convinced that lie that they made it to the moon. Think about it. They couldn't even, think about in the last couple of years, 2003, 1906. Do, they had two bad accidents, and that cost people's lives. So you could tell the engine, the material on it, wasn't up that capability, and unfortunately those people perished. So do you think that they will be able to go to another planet? And I mean, we have some technology, but to withstand those black holes and all that stuff out there, and the stream colder than that's what's in the earth. I mean, then as soon as you step out the side of the realm of the force of the globe around the earth, it probably will freeze up. But there's some people probably gonna believe that you can fly to the moon. But I don't believe you can fly to the moon. I don't even believe that they went to Mars and all them places. I don't believe that. That's my belief, because it would be literally very impossible to go to Mars and go to the moon. I mean, there's another one I want to show you that this talks about the dimensions. The dimensions within the Earth. Did you know, the scientists, from the scientist point of view, that they said that there's 6 to 11 dimensions, and then there's the portion of the Bible said that the Bible mentioned about dimensions. So I'm looking at one's called 5 Dimensions of Life. So yeah, I saw this video explains about the dimensions. This is the scientific part for my people that just, I mean, I hope it don't sound boring to some people, but maybe, some questions you have some things about. One is called Angels in Dimension. Let's see what this is about. This gives you more of a detail of heaven, 6 angels, 5 demons, 4 spirits, 3. Okay, this gives you a chart of what each one is. Higher dimension, which according to this page, it said it's a 7th dimension, which is we exist on our higher state of existence, where we ascend following our life here in the 3rd dimension. The 7th dimension is such a high state of vibrational existence is not possible to fully understand from a 3rd dimension existence. Religiously, text refers to dimension as heaven. The 6th dimension is the plane of existence inhabited by beings we refer as angels. Here they are viewed interact with lower dimensional vibrational places. The dimension plane is more heavily populated than the 5th dimension, fifth spiritual dimension. Why? For the more the beings are eventually around it, each living in the 3rd dimension. Other angels are nearby, observing and interacting with us on our current vibrational state. This goes on. Let me see. Let's see if I got a video here about that. But yeah, so it's just, something to think about, because every person wonders what is life at some point in life when you leave this world. and curiosity. I know I do. From a scientific point of view, NASA said that there are hidden portals in the Earth magnet. This is according to NASA. That
electron diffusion regions, explains plasma physicist Jack Scudder of the University of Iowa. They're places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the Sun, creating an uninterrupted path leading from our own planet to the Sun's atmosphere 93 million miles away. Observations by NASA's Themis spacecraft and Europe's cluster probes suggest that these magnetic portals open and close dozens of times each day. They're typically located a few tens of thousands of kilometers from Earth, where the geomagnetic field meets the onrushing solar wind. Most portals are small and short-lived. Others are yawning, vast, and sustained. Energetic particles can flow through the openings, heating Earth's upper atmosphere, sparking geomagnetic storms, and igniting bright polar auroras. NASA is planning a mission called MMS, short for Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, due to launch in 2014 to study the phenomenon. Bristling with energetic particle detectors and magnetic sensors, the 4 spacecraft of MMS will spread out in Earth's magnetosphere and surround the portals to observe how they work. Just one problem: finding them. Magnetic portals are invisible, unstable, and elusive. They open and close without warning, and there are no signposts to guide us in, notes Scudder. Actually, there are signposts, and Scudder has found them. Portals form via the process of magnetic reconnection. Mingling lines of magnetic force from the Sun and Earth crisscross and join to create the openings. X-points are where the crisscross takes place. The sudden joining of magnetic fields can propel jets of charged particles from the X-point, creating an electron diffusion region. To learn how to pinpoint these events, Scudder looked at data from a space probe that orbited Earth more than 10 years ago. In the late 1990s, NASA's polar spacecraft spent years in Earth's magnetosphere, explained Scudder, and it encountered many X-points during its mission. Because Polar carried sensors similar to those of MMS, Scudder decided to see how an X-point looked to Polar. Using Polar data, we have found 5 simple combinations of magnetic field and energetic particle measurements that tell us when we've come across an X-point or an electron diffusion region. A single spacecraft, properly instrumented, can make these measurements. This means that a single member of the MMS constellation, using the diagnostics, can find a portal and alert other members of the constellation. Mission planners long thought that MMS might have to spend a year or so learning to find portals before it could study them. Scudder's work shortcuts the process, allowing MMS to get to work without delay. It's a shortcut worthy of the best portals of fiction, only this time the portals are real. And with the new signposts, we know how to find them. For a portal to more NASA science news, visit science.nasa.gov.
So imagine a spaceship going through all that stuff, the solar winds and all that. Do you think it can handle all that outside of the Earth? With the portals and magnetic fields and everything? I mean, given that we've had problems with spaceships not able to properly off the ground and things explosion midway, halfway because of the engines and everything. And I just want to give you a good idea about this. This talks about the 7 heavens: material heaven, mystic heaven, earthly heaven, silent heaven, sectarian heaven, secular heavens, 7th heaven, And wow, this is in the Bible too. Isaiah 6:1-3, John, Revelation 4:1 talks about the different heavens. Luke 6:23 talks talks about the heavens, the different heavens and everything. Let me see, right quick.
A declarative sentence. Marty made a confession. It's good that the elder preacher gets up. The first thing he does in the morning is he confesses. So I thought I'd follow suit, make my confession. And my confession is...
Hold on. This one's kind of long. I don't think I got too much time. The seven heavens. Where was that one video? Let me see. This might be interesting. Got questions? What would heaven look like? There's a couple videos. It's a short video.
What will we look like in heaven? In the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, Paul talks about the resurrection and the resurrected body. In verses 35 and following, he states that our heavenly bodies will be different from our natural bodies, with some stark contrasts. Whereas our earthly bodies are characterized by mortality, being susceptible to death, our resurrected bodies will be characterized by immortality, not susceptible to death. Likewise, while our earthly bodies are susceptible to decay or corruption, they will be incorruptible. Also, where our natural bodies are prone to weakness, our resurrected bodies will be characterized by strength. Another comparison is that now we have a natural body, but then we will have a spiritual body. This problem doesn't mean that we will be like ghosts possessing no body at all and floating around unable to interact with things around us. After all, verse 49 states that we will have a body like Jesus' resurrected body. And Jesus, after his resurrection, told them to touch him and watch him eat, demonstrating that he was not merely a spirit. Rather, it's more likely that just as our natural body is fitted for this present life in our physical universe, the spiritual body will be that which will best suit us for the eternal existence we are destined for in our eternal abode. Jesus' resurrected body was capable of entering locked rooms at will. Our earthly body limits us in ways and or dimensions that our spiritual body will not. 1 Corinthians 15:43 also describes the transformation from sown in dishonor to raised in glory. Philippians 3:21 says that Jesus will transform our lowly body that it may be conformed to his glorious body. Our decaying bodies are described with the word dishonor because they bear the mark of the results of sin. We can all picture the lungs of one who has ruined his health through smoking, or a brain that is no longer able to form complete thoughts because of drug abuse. In the same way, the decaying physical body is the direct result of man's sinfulness. Had there been no sin, there would be no decay and death. But God, through Christ's transforming power, is able to raise up his children in Christ with new glorious bodies, being completely free from the ravages of sin and possessing the glory of Christ instead. To summarize, we're not told exactly what we will look like in the next life, what age we'll appear to be, or if we'll look thin or fat. But, while many believe we will bear some resemblance to what we look like now, we do know that in whatever ways our appearance or health has been altered as a result of sin, whether because of overeating or not eating right, hereditary malformations, injuries, aging, etc., these traits will not be carried over into our appearance in the next life. More importantly, the sin nature inherited from Adam will no...
Oops, sorry about that. But, yeah, so, that's good to know. That's something positive. Now, a couple short videos. Hopefully this will get this one. This might be the one I'm looking for. Here's a short video.
Since I made a video talking about the 9 layers of hell, I wanted to also make a video talking about the 7 layers of heaven. The 7 layers of heaven comes from ancient Sumeria, where it describes each layer of heaven being a different dome made out of different material, with the first layer being made out of jasper and stars. It's also described in different religions, as in Islam, where it describes there are 7 layers of heaven and each biblical character that lives in those layers, and it's also described within the book of Enoch, where Enoch goes into the 7 layers of heaven. Judaism text, the first layer of heaven is called Velon, or the Veil of Heaven, and in Dante's Inferno, it said this is where the people who are inconsistent went. This is for people who believed in God and they had faith in God, but didn't keep God's faith. When they told God they were going to do something, they didn't do it, and they were later forgiven for it, but because of this, they're at the lowest level of heaven. The second layer of heaven in Judaism is known as Raka, or the second day of creation. This is the layer of heaven in the book of Enoch, where he describes angels hanging prisoners as they await judgment. But for the people who are good who are sent here, this is a place of paradise where you're able to seek and discover who you really are. But in Muslim text, it describes this layer as being the home to John the Baptist and Jesus, and in Dante's Inferno, it describes this place being the home to the ambitious. The third layer of heaven in Judaism is described as the home of the new Garden of Eden, also being home to the Tree of Life. In Islam, it's described as being the home of Azrael and Joseph, and in Dante's Inferno, it's described as being the place of beautiful lands where all lovers are sent after they die. Dante's Inferno, people were sent to the fourth heaven if they were wise people, but in Catholicism, people were sent to the fourth heaven if they sought peace, love, and truth during their life. In the Bible, Ezekiel sees a vision of Jerusalem being rebuilt, and many people believe that Jerusalem being rebuilt was within the fourth heaven. Dante describes the fifth heaven to be the home of the faithful, the people who were sent who never lacked faith in God. But it's also described to be the home of the enlightened, the people who truly know themselves throughout their lives. It also describes how in the second book of Enoch, there is an army of soldiers that await in the fifth part of heaven, where they are awaiting judgment from God because they betrayed him during their life. They're the soldiers of the Groggery, or however they're pronounced. The sixth layer of heaven is described as the holiest of holiest in Judaism, described as the people who are the most faithful to God and did the most for him. It's also described in Dante's Inferno as being the just rulers, the people who had power during their lives and did good things with them. In Muslim text, it describes Moses himself living in the sixth layer of heaven. The seventh and last layer of heaven is God's throne. This is where God sits, surrounded by seraphim, at the very top of heaven. At least that's how it's described in Judaism and Muslim texts. In Dante's Inferno, it's actually the place for the contemplators. Then there's an 8th and 9th floor. The 8th floor is for the angels, and the 9th floor would be God's throne.
Well, that explains about the heavens. But give you a good around range from scientific point of view, actual text point of view, which, going to just hopefully you have an understanding. That if you have any questions, hopefully some of the videos kind of answered it. And let the Most High show you more detail of it. And there's more scriptures to it. The scriptures, there's, like you said, like Judaism, the Quran, it is different ones, but they all seem to tell the same story. So there's some truth with that. So yeah, it's really. So that, comfort, maybe it's to bring comfort to someone that maybe they passed away and maybe that they went to heaven, Never know what people are going through. They're wondering, and every human being wonders, Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this video, giving you a good idea of different sites, giving outtakes on it. This is a spiritual side of it. I kind of balance with try to be more balanced with my channel. because maybe not too many people are balanced. They show you one thing and that's it. I hope it may be boring to some. But hey, at least it gets you thinking that, you know, my mission is really get you really thinking about God at some point. Throughout, even somewhere in your day, if someone's planted, that's that's the whole thing about it. Because sometimes we need to think about Him, but He's been so good to us. But probably gonna shut this video off for another 10 minutes and see if I can find another video. Was Court to Heaven? The Afterlife? But yet, that's what I believe, man. I believe that the only way you can move through is that you would need an escort, because you be a soul that need to be escorted into the heavens to get to where God's at. That's the only way when even you leave your body. Let me see. Yeah, I did this one. But yeah, but that's probably gonna come around. It sounds so convincing, isn't it? But when it's like, wait a minute, you can't just. I mean, certain things. There's some truth there, but there's certain things that, wait a minute, you start thinking that you were God at some point. No, you know what I mean, able to do. I mean, some things can manifest, but I mean, you can't create your. From supernatural. You can think it, but you can't create it. And believe it or not, that's coming that way for people who are believers. This talks about CERN. You probably heard about CERN. Of course, USA said that it's not a portal to hell, which is, I don't believe that. They're trying to do something with that. Some people believe it's 9 dimensions. Wow, I didn't know that. Let's see this one. This one is about mystical dimension. Oh, okay. So I'm about to shut this video down here. I don't really see anything there. So, maybe this one called Realms. This might be interesting. What are realms? Okay, here is something. The definition of realms. Well, let me put my glasses on. Sometimes you stare at something for a long time. Okay, realms. Um, Heaven is a realm of angels, souls, humans deemed worthy to enter into the gates, guarded by the angels and God, and led by archangels. The veil. The realm of ghosts that can't move on briefly souls until reapers lead them to their afterlife. Universes. Universes are realms of humans, animals, monsters, creatures, and pagan deities. No universe. Purgatory. A purgatory is a realm adjacent to hell, contains monsters, Leviathan, a place filled with war, death, and chaos, inaccessible to reapers. Hell. Hell is a dominion of demons, souls, sent there through the power that deals through a sinful life. This realm houses hordes of dark souls and entities like the Shedim and the Whore of Babylon. And the furthest reaches into is limbo, which is Lucifer's cage, which primarily held the fallen archangel Lucifer, but also at one point his true vessel, Sam Winchester, and the archangel Michael, along with secondary vessel, the empty. A realm with reapers can send souls rather than hell or heaven. It is inhabited by deceased angels and demons. It is ruled by the shadow. It has been stated in the empty that it was the first realm of existence prior even to God and the darkness. Apparently it has no power there, and the shadow later admitted that it was a sweet little lie. Avalon. Avalon is a realm of fairies. House of fairies inside their own popular dimension. Oz is also a branch of a fairy world. Deities. Deities are mentioned as supernatural. Cody Kiss is a home world of Hugh, Cody, and other deities. Once a woman who tried to enter the realm along with Hugh, Cody was somehow transformed and became as the border walker. So, wow, that's really interesting.
Necessarily believe what he's seeing. So it's a really tough pill to swallow. Of course, he understands what's happening, but it's tough, especially after going through everything that they already went through to get to that point, having to, sell out Kathleen's brother, to save and protect him.
I am the bad guy because I did a bad guy thing.
He's finally safe, and we meet Joel and Ellie, and then we go on this journey, and then finally, when it finally feels like it's safe and we're good to go, and we made some new friends, it all comes crumbling down. So I think for him, it's just a really tough pill to swallow for him. He's in shock. He's in disbelief. He doesn't know how to process any of this information, and yeah, there's also a little bit of guilt too, because obviously for him, he being the protective brother that he is, maybe there could have been a way for him to prevent this from happening. It was just a wash of emotions and feelings for Henry in that moment, seeing his brother that way, and ultimately being the one that kills him. It's very, very tough.
What did I do?
Sam is all he lives for. That's truly the only thing he cares about in this world, and that's what's keeping him going. Wanting him to survive, wanting him to stay, to be, he has to be strong for Sam.
There's some kind of movie
and when
out.
Sam is gone, who does he have to live for? This world is already tough as it is. Losing someone that you fought, you've sacrificed so much for, it's tough to see them gone. And I think in that moment, he just rather not exist in this, in the environment, in the world that exists because of how tough it is. He also, believes in a higher power, and he believes that, in this moment, he wanted to join his brother. He couldn't live and stomach with the idea and the fact of living without him, after everything he's already sacrificed to keep him safe. And I think, at that moment, he kind of also tells himself, all right, well, I think it's time, it's my time as well.
Give me the gun. Give me the gun.
in that moment, I don't think anyone could have said anything to him, you know, especially in that moment with all the emotions so high. I don't think there's anything anyone could have said to him to maybe sway him otherwise, or kind of change the outcome of his decision. You know, I mean, I commend Joel for being able to stomach literally holding his daughter in his arms and sort of, yeah, it's very tough, you know, and I commend him, but you see what that has done to him, right? It's kind of really hardened him.
If you're feeling lost, tell me to look for the light and I'll break your jaw.
Obviously, you know, everybody knew sort of what we were jumping into and filming, so obviously the energy was pretty somber, I would say. But once again, very grateful for Pedro because he also created some levity in moments as well that were very much needed on set.
Everything is great.
Dude.
And I really appreciate that because it's really heavy material that we're working with, you know. So to be able to at least have some moments to kind of be like, okay, let's breathe a little bit. You know, I think with Sam and Henry, I think they showed up to showcase what this world is like for, I guess, maybe a brother sibling kind of dynamic, you know, and sort of what that feels like, you know, and sort of just another exploration of love. Because I feel like this show, they really explore, even though, you know, we're in a world and in an environment that is so harsh, I think really there's a really big underlying message of love. I think if we're able to make you feel anything, and also to make you feel our connection, the love that we have for each other, I think is very powerful.
Yeah, so I guess that was a movie, Supernatural. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoy this video. Yeah, that gives you an idea of kind of make it entertaining towards the end about the supernatural and the heavens and the portals and things and what that woman says. So hopefully hope that the video, they don't say too much about the video on YouTube, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it with somebody, like it. Yeah, this is just something that's curiosity and just something to spark for thought. But yeah, remember one thing before this video go: the only way you can get into the heavens is through the Most High God. Remember that. Only way you get into the heavens is the Most High. Only way you can move. You can be earthbound, as far as it goes, but in order to go to get up to where He's at, you can't will yourself up. Once you leave this, you in His zone. That's a fact. So that's just something to think about. So we're not really controlling anything. We are His. We come from Him, but He has all the power to move that dimension and our dimension. Because His dimension, or the Most High is at, can affect our dimension. And that's the only way He can save us or anything. So just remember that we need Him. That's the point of this message. Okay then, guys. Till next time, be blessed and take care and stay free.